Hey, it's Mike at Cross Country Mortgage. It's time for your Monday morning mortgage update for the week of April the 29th. Hope you all had a great weekend. I had a fantastic weekend. I always try to give you tools, tips, tactics, and things that are going to happen in the market and talk about what happened last week and what's going to happen this week. So last week, hey, some good news actually. Rates were flat, and that's welcoming news considering what we've seen over the last couple of weeks where these rates have continually gotten worse. Why? Because of inflation. So there was a lot of volatility last week up and down, but we ended the week the same way we started it. So what are we looking at this week that's going to affect the market? Really two main things, and it's a lot of things. The Fed meeting is meeting for their third time this week, starting Tuesday, ending Wednesday, and a ton of data that could impact the market. So let's talk about the Fed meeting. We know that the Federal Reserve meets every month and a half, roughly. They decide what their policy is going to be on raising and lowering interest rates, what their perspective on the economy is doing moving forward. And we know at the beginning of this year, the Federal Reserve talked about cutting rates. You know, they've been raising rates for a couple of years now to fight inflation. The number one reason they're raising the Fed fund rate, to fight inflation. That Fed fund rate is the rate that banks charge businesses overnight when they borrow money. So when they raise that Fed fund rate, it makes it more expensive for businesses to borrow. They pass that cost down to the consumer. The consumer buys less stuff. Businesses lower their prices. That's how they lower inflation. Well, it hasn't been working. And at the beginning of this year, they talked about 6 possible rate cuts. Now they're down to 1, maybe none, and even floating the idea that maybe they'll do a rate increase. And they've really put themselves in a bad spot because inflation has peaked at 9.1% last year, and it hasn't gotten any better. And the Federal Reserve, if they raise the Fed fund rate to fight inflation, that's bad for the economy. They have been raising the Fed fund rate, and it hasn't killed inflation. So what are they going to do? What message are they going to send out? They meet on Tuesday. They end on Wednesday. Then the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, has this big press conference Wednesday afternoon and tells us what they talked about. So we'll be paying a lot of attention to this. The second thing is data. A ton of data is coming out. A boatload of data is coming out. Jobs data, home data, price and valuation, consumer data, manufacturing data. And the jobs data, we always have these jobs weeks, but this jobs week is at the same week that the Federal Reserve's meeting. So we expect a ton of volatility. And this is labor costs. Are we adding more jobs? Is there more unemployment? Is it going up or down? And is the data reliable? There's really been a lot of concern over the last couple months, 6 months plus, that the data that the current administration has been pumping out hasn't been reliable because it conflicts with other data. So what is the market? How is the market going to react to that jobs data that's coming out? And then we've got home value and home prices with Case-Shiller and FHFA and manufacturing news. Are businesses actually making more stuff? Consumer sentiment, big report. Does the consumer feel good about what's moving on in the economy? That can impact the rate. So we're really floating, or at least we expect rates to be flat into Wednesday, and then a lot of volatility. Really on the trigger finger to cautiously lock. So if you have any questions about the market, go ahead and give me a call. If you know somebody who can benefit from this video, please forward it to them. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. Have a great, productive week. We'll talk to you soon.